Which pays better, residential or commercial? If you ain't with lawn crack, you're on crack. Welcome back to another Lawn Crack Q&A video, and today's question is from Mick Cool 24, and that's exactly what he asked: which pays better, residential or commercial? And I honestly don't know if there is a right answer to this. I think they can both potentially be very profitable, and it's all just going to come down to your pricing. So once again, we're back to man-hour rate. You just have to nail down what your man-hour rate should be, and then make sure you are quoting these jobs at your man-hour rate and the crews are running the jobs efficiently, and you're meeting the times, the budget hours for those jobs, meet the actual hours for those jobs, and then you're going to be profitable no matter what you're doing. And that this is another reason why I really like percentage pay, because then you already know what your labor cost is going to be for every job, no matter how long or short of a period of time the crew is on the property. So I'm still big on percentage pay. I love it, and I think you should look into it if you have not already. But let's get into residential versus commercial. I will add what insight I can here. So, like I said, I mean, it just all comes down to how you price them. So a couple things going for residential. So let's talk about how residential could possibly be more profitable. In my experience dealing with residential customers, it is much more of a personal relationship. So if you prove to a residential client that you're going to show up every week, you're going to do a good job, you make it easy for them to pay you, your invoices are clear, easy to read, easy to understand, you send them out on the same day every month, like all this kind of stuff. If you're operating your business like a business, in my experience, a residential customer is like, oh, thank God. I've been dealing with all these other bozos, and we finally found a company that operates like a real business. So, if I wanted to raise my rates, $5, $10, whatever, it usually went over pretty smoothly. I did have a really hard time raising my rates in my business. I just felt bad, but at the end of the day, you have to do it because the dollar is losing value, and so I'm not going to get into that in this video, but you can potentially make a little more on residential as you really get to know the person, the homeowner. So that's one thing. Another thing is usually residential lawns are much closer together. So if you can get a bunch of neighbors to let you cut their grass or do whatever you're doing there, then that could become more profitable than driving from commercial job to commercial job, which may be 5 or 10 minutes of drive time in between. So on the commercial side of things, it really, I don't know, I guess commercial, you have much more competition, much larger companies that their overhead burden is much less per man hour because it's spread out over so many employees. So sometimes it can be very hard to compete on a commercial property and be profitable, because if you're dealing with Brickman, or now they're Brightview or whatever, or these big nationwide companies, or maybe they're just big in certain areas, when you're trying to compete and make money at the rates that they're charging, you're probably not going to be able to do it. And I think a lot of guys are, I got to get that job and blah, 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 and just really crushing your business's profitability trying to compete with these big companies. I would focus on residential if you're getting started. There's no need to jump into commercial. You can always do both. You can always switch. Whatever, but it's going to be much easier to get in on the residential side, and the commercial side is much more competitive for whatever reason. I don't really understand it. So I guess one thing that a commercial property does have going for it is commercial properties are typically higher dollar value accounts over the course of the season, so you can potentially deal with less customers if you're dealing with commercial customers, and then that would equate to less invoicing and less communication and all this kind of stuff, maybe even less drive time. So those are my thoughts on that. Like, I don't think there's a right answer or really a way to answer it. Your profitability is all going to come down to you getting a really good understanding of your hourly rate and then accurately quoting jobs and then efficiently performing the work. So I hope that made sense. Didn't really know what to say, so I tried to put something on the video, but you already know. Until the next video, keep making money.